Hi, my name is Charis Wipfler. I'm a nurse practitioner in Connecticut, and I'm very excited to be here with Women in Aesthetics. So today we're going to be talking about HR, hiring, and maintaining a brand. So in my practice, I employ about 15 people. Throughout the 9 years or so that I've been up and running, we've gone through a number of employees, but we finally settled on who really fits into our office culture, who really fits into our group, who get along very well with each other. Finding the right employee can be difficult. We found that our best options have been word of mouth. When we have employees that can recommend somebody else, that's always been the best option for us. A lot of our employees used to work with people that they recommend, and they've really had a good feel for what their work persona is. They've had a good feel for how they work with others, how they work with customers or patients, how they manage stress and activity and on-the-fly decision-making. Another tool that I find helpful is Indeed. I've used that in the past. When I'm looking for an employee, it's nice to have a good picture of them, see what their online persona is, their social media persona. That's very helpful in getting a good picture of the type of person you're about to hire, and not just the person that's sitting in front of you at that very moment with their resume in hand. It really gives you a feel for who they are outside of work. One other resource that we have found valuable is when we're looking for a new employee, we've reached out to our Galderma reps, and sometimes when timing is right and we're looking for an employee and maybe someone else is looking to move on from another place, our Galderma rep can really kind of point that person in the right direction and see if maybe that new employee might be a good fit for our office culture as well. I'm a firm believer in hire slow and fire fast. I do a probationary period when they're hired, really get a feel for who they are, express to them that 90 days and this is kind of where we're going to decide if you're a good fit or not. But I also fire fast. I feel like when someone shows you who they are the first time, you believe them. It's kind of difficult to find that person that really fits into your office. When you do find them, you want to hold on to them tight. It's very important that when you find a good employee that you're able to please them, keep them, make them happy, and of course have them be happy with treating your customers well. So some of the characteristics that I find most valuable in employees are delivery of safe care. Obviously that's paramount. Attention to detail matters. Attention to detail is so important in the littlest things, from the front desk to the treatment in the rooms. It's seeing that the before picture matches the after picture, that the appointment was scheduled correctly, that the discharge instructions are appropriate. Another thing that's important, I think, is empathy. I think it's really super important for a staff member to understand that the client is in your office having an experience that they're nervous about, uncomfortable with. They're fearing pain. They're fearing how they're going to look if they've not done this before, and that you have to be empathetic to that. And the last thing that I really think is so important for an employee is curiosity. I think it's great when an employee is looking at their experience and their day-to-day operations and they're saying, how can I do this better? And what is it that I can do better? Or, that last thing had happened that wasn't quite the way I wanted it to go. What could I do that would make that different? And you have an employee who's truly curious. It really makes for a great employee. Though retention can be difficult, we've been very lucky so far to hold on to the people that we really want to keep within our office. I was curious to know what motivated our staff to really stick around, and what kept them with us. And one of the things that they mentioned that was a common theme is that they felt heard. They felt like I was asking them questions about their job. I was asking them ways in which I can help them make their job easier. And I think that the fact that their input was taken into consideration to do the job that they do every day and make it easier or more efficient was important to them. So I think that just the fact that they felt like we were a community, they had a real sense of community and family within our office. And I think that I try to cultivate that on a regular basis by doing events. I think it's important to keep the lines of communication open between the staff and I. I have 3 managers, and our staff have a direct managerial chain of command. So they're really able to speak to their direct supervisor about anything that comes up. I feel like I'm very available to my staff at any level. So I think that they feel comfortable reaching out to me should something happen that's beyond the scope of their manager. I also like to check in with them every once in a while. I think it's important that they feel that they have direct access to me and they don't have to go through their manager. Another area that I find is very motivating to my staff is compensation. I think it's important that we be generous to our staff. If our office is busy and it's thriving, the employee should be thriving as well. I also think it's important that our staff get low to no cost aesthetic treatments because it allows them to speak with confidence about the procedure. It allows them to feel confident about their own looks. And it also allows them to speak with authenticity to our client base. We at Grace do not do commission-based treatments just because I don't want to have competition between staff members in getting a client or a patient to spend more money. I think that's an unethical process. So if I know that if I'm compensating them at a level that keeps them comfortable, then I don't feel like I have to then incentivize the staff member to upsell the patient. I think it's important to be consistent about education. I think that this is a very constantly evolving field. I think that there are new things coming out all the time, new technologies, new procedures. I think it's super important that my staff learns of these things. We keep a Instagram diary. I send an educational email to a common Google Doc. Anytime anything comes up that I see that's would be useful to one of them, I email it to our common doc, Google Doc account. My nurse manager, I've sent her to customer service training programs. My nurses, anytime there's a new technology or anytime there's a new training that we can take advantage of, we do. My nurse injectors, I think it's important that they are constantly learning. Whenever I find a new trick or tool or something that I've learned, I'll bring them into the room and say, hey, look at this new thing that I've just kind of figured out or that we've decided to change the way we're going to do something. I think that it's important that those lines of communication stay open, and I think that the more you learn, the better they get at these things, the more confident they get. So I think it helps with their self-satisfaction as well. I think they feel great about what they're doing when they learn a little more about it. Thank you for your time today. I'm happy to be a part of the Women in Aesthetics Council, and I look forward to sharing more insight and ideas in the future.